Hey guys, it's McKenna from M&M Equestrians, and today I'm going to be doing my equestrian pet peeves. I have 20, but I started out with like 40 or 50. So, my first pet peeve is people who constantly complain about the horses. They're bucking, they're kicking, they're skinny, they're fat, they don't listen, they run you over. A lot of these things are things you can control. Bucking and kicking, look for health issues, look for like tack that's not fitting, look for something. So many people just think that the horse has an attitude problem. I was like that, and it was interesting, and now I figured out what's wrong with my horse. So there are things that are wrong before you have to go into like using harsher tack or doing something more to make your horse submit to you, basically. Um, and skinny or fat, you can give them more food, or you can lower their feed or work them more, which is what I had to use with my mare, because you could give her like 2 or 3 flakes of hay a day and have her out on pasture and lunch her for like 20 minutes every day. She was not going to get any skinnier. You had to cut her hay, and keep her out on pasture and up her lunging, and she just built muscle. She never lost any weight. She's still quite plump. She gets fat on air. No arena manners. So many people don't know left to left. They don't realize you need to give space for horses, or they're just having like a completely uncontrollable horse. I never let my horses really go into an arena. Now that I've been through shows and stuff, I try not to let my horses go into an arena acting stupid unless I am I have a plan on how to control them. I don't try to go into an arena full of 10 or 15 or 20 people unless I'm going to be able to control my horse. And if you can't do that, then you need to find a space to make your horse listen and understand that they need to chill because you're in an environment where you're at. And not many people realize that. They or they're kicking. My horses know not to do that. My horses always stay at my shoulder, and if they're not at my shoulder, then they back up. That's the way that I always taught them. If you're not at my shoulder, then you better be behind me, because you're not going to be in front of me. My horses have never threatened to kick, strike, or anything while I'm walking them. They have when I lunge them, because that's one of the times where they get to kind of get rid of their energy. And they also don't do that when they're close to me, and they do not threaten to kick at me. They don't threaten to do anything towards me. They can kick outside of the lunge area, the lunge circle, but they're not allowed to kick at me, or they get to work. And I always work my horses so that they know that that's not acceptable. Ill-fitting saddles or saddle pads or blankets that are way too big or way too small for the saddle or the horse. One of the things that I realized this past year is saddles don't always fit horses. I rode in a 14.5-inch trail pleasure saddle that's like 50 years old, and I was always under the impression that every saddle fit every horse. And after I've come to the realization that my horse is oddly shaped, we have finally found a saddle that fits him, so hopefully he'll be better. He actually, I feel really crappy to admit this, but this past year, he has white spots. Like, it almost looks like he's roaning, like a really small patch on his withers. And that was from an ill-proper saddle. And after having him for 16 years, that was the first time it's ever happened. And that was because, yeah, I did ride him on an ill-fitting saddle, and I didn't realize that that was one of the problems. So now I realize that, and we got a new saddle for him that fits him amazing. I love it. Sideline trainers, people who are like in the bleachers and they sit there and tell you that you need to spur your horse or you need to like back it up or you need to do something in order to do a class. I hate that. I just don't like that unless you're like an actual trainer or you have a lot of experience with horses. Just be quiet. It's so annoying. The next one, it probably might offend a lot of people that watch my videos, but people riding gag bits, small twisted wire bits, or extremely tight tie downs. I rode in a twisted wire bit when I first started. My horse had scabs on the side of his mouth from one day. If any of you have seen me ride, I am an extremely light rider. I hate being in my horse's mouth. I hate it. I expect my horse to go off of very light contact. And if they can't, then they go to the halter. I don't want a horse that I have to sit there and pull and jerk and yank on their mouth in order for them to listen. I don't like that at all. So, for my horse to have scabs on the side of his mouth, that had to have been a bad bit. And it makes me feel horrible now that I look back on it because I rode him in that. Gag bits. They tell your horse to put their head down, but they also sit there and tell your horse to put your head up. The pressure on their poll tells them to put their head down, and you taking the bit and it away a lot of bits, they go up, and so they come into their mouth, and that tells them to put their head up, whereas the pull pressure does tell them to put their head down. So it's a very confusing signal for the horses, and it's irrelevant for the horse. It's not going to do them any good. It's just a stronger aid that people don't need to use. And tie downs, they're a gadget and they don't help. I don't ride my horses in them. My horses will never have a tie down on them. Never. Helmet preachers. Yep. You have your own opinion. Not everyone's gonna listen to you. I have a helmet. If you don't want to wear a helmet, go for it. I don't even care. Oh, those people just crack me up. Starfishing. I see this a lot in barrel racers, and it's just hilarious to watch because you find those pictures of people and they're like 6 inches out of their saddle and their legs are almost doing the splits, and that's so bad for the horse's back, and then it's also just horrible for the horse. Just horrible for the horse in general. People who don't praise their horses out of coming out of the show ring. Every time I go to ride my horse, I sit there and like scratch his neck as we're sitting in the arena. Like before I run or something, I always like scratch his neck and ask him if he's ready, and then we go. I've always done that. And if we go into the arena, I'm always, okay, boy, you're good. You're gonna be good. We'll get it. And then once we come out, he gets scratched. improperly wrap polo wraps. Those can do such horrible damage to your horses if you don't wrap them right. You can bow a tendon in one ride. Why can't you just get boots or learn how to ride or learn how to wrap them the proper way? Not worth your horse's health. Backyard breeders. People breed to unregistered horses. No, there's no reason. Just go get a rescue. Just because your horse is just like some angel that you've had since you were 3. Still not gonna help. Your horse is sway-backed and has a huge neck and is only like 13 hands tall, and you breed her to like a 17-hand horse. You're not gonna come out with a good horse. Sorry to break it to you, but you're not. Not happening. People who don't brush their horses or pick out their horses' feet before they ride, especially, but just in general. My horses get brushed every day. Whether it's raining or snowing or sleeting or in 90 degrees out, they get brushed every day. And they get their feet picked out at least once a day. If it's really raining or it's really just gross, twice a day. Twice a day. And if you don't brush your horse and then you go to like saddle up or whatever, the dirt can like hurt, like it can cause like extreme discomfort to your horse under the saddle pad and in the girth especially. Like it's just one of those things that's gonna be so uncomfortable. It's like sitting there with a burr on like in your shirt and then you had to go like run around. Like it's something it's gonna bother you the whole day. People making excuses for the horse's crappy attitude. Your horse just like pushes you around and you're like, oh, they're in a new environment. No, that's no reason for your horse to act like that. My horses, we went to county fair, they had never been outside of my pasture basically for 12 years. And they still always stood by my side. Yeah, that's no excuse for a crappy horse. My horses know how to listen. Yeah. People who don't listen to signs. I had a sign on my horse's stall that said, don't touch me, I bite. It was in bright orange on her stall. And there was an arrow pointing to her. Yeah, she bites. I had one kid come up and they read the sign. I heard them say that I heard them say, I bite. And then the kid stuck their hand in the stall. First off, where was the kid's parents? Second off, what does I bite mean? I don't understand that. And I also had like 30 and 40-year-old adults read the sign with me standing right there. And they didn't realize that I was the owner or whatever, but they read the sign and then they went and stuck their hand in there and said, ooh, I wonder if she'll bite me. Why do you try to hurt yourself? Why? Makes no sense. People whose heels aren't down. That's one of the biggest pet peeves of mine. My ankles and my heels, they're just down. My heels are so far down, it looks so uncomfortable. But if I ride any higher, it hurts. My ankles are probably going to be horrible by the time I'm like 21. So, whatever. It's just one of those things that you need to be able to do. It's just one of those things that looks good when you ride. Why wouldn't people want to do that? Gamers that run their horses for like 20 or 30 minutes because they're hot, because they know they're going to run, and then they expect them to go get first place in like a barrel or a pole or a keyhole run. Why are you doing that? I don't ever expect my horses to win. I do it purely for the fun. And I've seen so many people, they'll sit there and run their horse for like a good 10 or 15 or 20 minutes. And then they run up to the arena, and the horse is just so slow. They are so slow because the horse has been running for that, like, they've been loping for 10 minutes. Like, that's horrible for your horse, first off. And second off, it does nothing for you. You just wasted your entry fee right there. And even saddle pads. I can go, like, saddle my horse, and I usually don't check my saddle pad before I get on. Like, I try to even it out as much as I can, and then I go and saddle. But if I realize that my horse, like, the saddle pad is not even on both sides, I will go and untack my horse completely other than his bridle, and I'll retack him. It's just one of those pet peeves. It looks so unprofessional. Hey everyone, thank you guys very much for watching this video. Comment in the down bar if you have any pet peeves of yours that I didn't mention, or ones that you think are just ones that should just be abolished right now. And also suggestions for another video. I think we're looking at doing a like Christmas presents, because I'm going over to Michaela's tomorrow actually today for New Year's Eve, into the New Year's. So she's going to be getting her present that I made her. And then I will be getting my present that I'm very excited to get, because she sent me like a billion pictures of it in the package, and I still don't know what it is, so it's driving me insane. But yeah, just comment in the down bar, like, suggestions or just stuff that you totally agree with me, or things, and debate them about them. Because my pet peeves might be things that you do. I'm not perfect by any means, but I have my own opinions, and everyone's entitled to their own. So just comment in the down bar, and hopefully we'll have another video up today, like tonight. And Michaela's video, her introduction, should be up sometime today, or possibly Friday. We're not sure. We still have to make hers partly. So, yeah. Thank you guys very much for watching, and ride on!